final word in sports all across the state. You're listening to Sports Talk with your hosts, Phil Kornbluth, Will Pelagic, and the Professor Tom Hayes. You've been waiting all day, so join the show now by calling 800-956-7266.
Our guys just remained so calm and composed and confident, even in the eighth inning there, where they start storming back. I was just really impressed with the demeanor of our ball club. So great job by our guys this weekend.
Whether it's been Tuesdays all year or whether it's playing in the SEC on the weekend, there's nothing easy. We're not asking for it to be easy. We're just showing up to play as hard as we can every day. And some days it doesn't go our way, and some days it has. And obviously, as of late, we've been playing really good baseball.
I'm also here because that's just how good Alabama is these days. If you beat them, they put your butt right into the hall.
And Dabo just loves to mix it up, doesn't he? Welcome into Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network on this final day, last day of April, the 30th, 2018, along with my cohorts, Phil Kornbluth, Professor Tom Hayes. I'm Will Pelagic. Hope you're enjoying yourself on this Monday afternoon as we start to finally get some good weather in the Palmetto State. Finally feels like that summer is actually here and spring has finally left us in the rearview mirror, and we'll get to some very interesting baseball that we saw over the weekend, the NFL draft recap. We'll hear from Mick Mixon, voice of the Carolina Panthers, to start off hour number two. But I guess from the weekend to start, Corn, South Carolina, the comeback kids again, man. They just seem to find a way to get 2 out of 3 over Vanderbilt and really now have inserted themselves into the postseason discussion firmly.
Well, this was a great weekend for the sports fans in South Carolina because when you think about it, all their favorite teams won big over the weekend. Yankees won 9 in a row. Celtics won to advance.
That's not true.
Tigers won. Gamecocks won. Some Joey Logano fans are happy. So all the teams that are favored by sports fans in South Carolina, as we know, as I've mentioned, Celtics and Yankees are the favorites.
The world of corn was a very happy one.
Old-fashioned front runners.
And they're very pleased with what the Packers did in the draft. But to get more direct to your question, South Carolina, my goodness, yeah, this is a team that is just totally different from what we saw for the first 40-something games of the season. And they're just playing well. They're starting pitching to sweep a series at Vanderbilt, and your starting pitchers, nobody gets beyond the 4th inning, and their numbers were atrocious as a trio. But the bullpen was great, and the never quit attitude kept chipping away, and then the clutch hitting that was lacking earlier in the year came through for them. They played terrific defense all weekend long. I think they made just one error in the series. So now you have to look at South Carolina as a definite NCAA tournament possibility, especially with 6 of their 9 remaining league games at home. And take care of your work in the midweek, though there is no midweek work this week. They should be right there. I don't think they can win their way into a host, but I don't think there's any question they can play their way into a spot somewhere for them, hopefully in the Southeast, because they're a hot team right now, and momentum just seems to – the confidence and momentum just continues to build as they go on through the season.
How sustainable is this high wire act, though? Fall behind 8 runs or 7 runs and come back and win, and fall behind on Sunday and come back and win in the final 2?
I don't think you need to worry about it. I'm not so certain that there's any pitchers outside of Vandy that likes that mound at Vandy.
Right.
So I'm thinking that South Carolina's pitchers, that was an anomaly this weekend because of that strange mound and that dirt at Vandy.
Or lack of.
But I will say this, for the coaching staff, I think they're finally glad that this is one time that the hitters had to bail out the pitchers. It's almost like the pitchers had to be so fine this year, especially with all the injuries, that they come on the mound thinking, hey, I got 1 run. I got to make it last. They don't have to worry about that now. Everybody's healthy, and they're getting aggressive at the plate. And as I said before, South Carolina, when that temperature reaches over 75 or 80, it seems their hitters are ready, especially Cortez.
And while we've been allured by what South Carolina has done, we have to obviously also think about now the team that's in first place in the ACC Atlantic, the Clemson Tigers. I don't want to say quietly, Corn, but they have worked their way through what was kind of a mid-season malaise into now basically playing on all cylinders.
8 straight wins. The back end of their bullpen was excellent against Virginia. They had to be because they were one-run games the whole way. Of course, they blew a lead. They had a comfortable lead yesterday and kind of let it slip away. But Riley Gillum has been lights out for them. I think he's got 10 saves now at this point. So he's been very, very good. And the middle relief for the most part has been good. And they're starting to hit. They've raised the batting average up over the 250 mark. And they're getting power from Williams and, of course, Beer and